The main character, fellow deputy Sean Lau from Cohort, is also based on you.
Yes, actually he told me that.
That's good.
Hi everybody, welcome to a new episode of Smart Talk. My name is Stefano. Before starting our show, please remember to watch our videos and subscribe to our channel. Today, I'm very honored to have with me Mr. Tang King-shing. He was former commissioner till 2011, a legend of the Hong Kong police force. And also we have Mr. Dominic Lee, a young and thoughtful KOL and also an active politician. Welcome all to our show.
Thank you.
Let me start first with Mr. Tang. So Mr. Tang has done a lot of Mission Impossible cases. One of the most famous one is the armed robbery of a watch shop in 1985, where all his team caught the 7 suspects without firing a shot. Really impressive. You have been through a hectic, thrilling and dangerous time. But now I'm wondering, how is your retirement life? Is it plain or not?
Thank you for the introduction, Stefano. In 5 months' time, I would have been retired for 10 years.
Wow.
After having served with the Hong Kong police for 35 years. When I first retired in 2011, I set myself a pretty simple and straightforward way forward. Because as far as I'm concerned, I divide my life into 3 chapters. First chapter, going to the school. Second chapter, in the main career, in my case, is in the police force for 35 years. And the third chapter, many people call it the last chapter or the final chapter. But I think this should be the most interesting and meaningful chapter. I should use what I've been picked up, what I've learned and gained in my service in the police force. And I look at this as a good opportunity to share my experience, in particular with the young guys in Hong Kong, because young guys are our future.
Yes.
Like in every place, every city in this world. Hence, I contribute a fair amount of my time involving in activities about youngsters. But I cannot just work around with youngsters. I need to spare some time to do things which I wanted to do. In particular, is something new, and better still if it is something I have to learn from scratch. And hence, I make myself geopark guy. And I joined the Country Park and Marine Park Board for 8 years. Yes. As far as the young guys are concerned, I have been quite active, involving in various activities in different forums, going to school, talking to young guys, mainly to share with them one very important message I think is important for, in particular, young guys in this stage of their development, is the attitude, the correct attitude they should be adopting in this very important stage of their life.
Have you noticed, guys, that more and more people, especially in Hong Kong, are trying to be influencer, and also not just the normal people, but also the politicians, especially after the protests of last year. Dominic, we know that you are very active on the YouTube, so you are a KOL. So why did you start that?
I'm a former district council member. So like a lot of public establishment politicians, I ran for re-election last November in the district council election. I lost, unfortunately. So it was a rude awakening for myself and a lot of the public establishment politicians, because in the past we have had this like winning formula where we just basically focus on district work and then we don't talk about politics, we don't talk about partisanship at a local level, right? And that has made us win elections year and after year. But then that is beginning to not work. And it will continue not to work in the future. The reason being, once people become politically aware, you cannot undo that process. They will not become politically unaware again, right? So this high turnout rate and high voting, high number of people that are going to vote is a trend that's not going to turn back, right? So we have to adapt to that trend. And so as public establishment politicians, we have to start talking about policies. We have to do a better job at convincing the people, at persuading the people that, hey, no, no one died August 31st last year in the MTR station. Yeah. And none of the thousands of people were being murdered by the Hong Kong police, right? We have to do a better job persuading people that, right? And that is what prompted me to become an influencer in the first place. But I cannot just do it alone, right? Yeah. So I started this program called KOL 100. And the reason why I named KOL 100 is because I'm not focusing on my channel and myself, right? We need people to speak out. We have a lot of supporters in the past that they share the same view as we do, but they're very worried about speaking out because they are very worried that they're going to be attacked, they're going to be exposed whatsoever. So they go into this Facebook private group called Save Hong Kong, and they talk about like these issues among themselves. But what happened is like, you know, the people from the opposition are much more vocal, right? So they're influencing a lot of the people in the middle or relatively neutral, and we're not doing that. So if we let that continue, more and more people who were neutral before is going to go towards the other side, right? So we have to start somewhere. So 100 means 100 people that are seed influencers. We're going to come out and encourage other people, our supporters, to start speaking out for themselves, right? So that was the point, and that's how we get started on this journey.
Stefano, lately I also join like many other good people, good-hearted people in Hong Kong to work as a bit of a KOL. I do that because I think it is important, like what Dominic has just said. We need to have more people to speak out so that people who are in support of Hong Kong being our home get a way to pick up their voice and also to express their opinion as well.
And basically, how was the political environment at that time where you were former commissioner of the Hong Kong Police Force?
Of course, if you compare with nowadays, it is comparatively simple and straightforward. There might be demonstrations, public meetings, etc., etc. But by and large, most, if not all of them, are very peaceful. Albeit in many occasions, we have to try our best to facilitate and coordinate public meetings and public demonstrations. Our police objective really is to facilitate. And the members of the public will accept that whilst others are exercising their civil right to voice their opinion, to take to the street, etc., etc., there may be inconvenience. But at the same time, they have to respect other people's right to go to school, to go to work, to do shopping, etc., etc. It's always a matter of mutual respect, and police are there in the middle to facilitate.
And what are you trying to achieve as being an influencer?
That's a great point because you know a lot of people knew that I ran for this Let's Go, this past Let's Go election, but it was postponed, so I'm not running right now. But when I started to be an influencer, since I lost my election, I thought to myself, I would never run again. So the purpose of me being on YouTube or being an influencer is not about my own political gain, because I thought to myself, I'm done with this, right? You know, I'm frustrated about how the fact that I've been working in the district for such a long time and my opponent did not and basically just came in and won, right? I was very frustrated. But throughout this process, I think I was being encouraged by a lot of the words, a lot of comments, a lot of encouragement of the people that watch our YouTube videos, right? So that is what made us continue. Back to the point, when we started, the objective is simple. We have to do a better job at persuading the people that, hey, we are right. Look at mainstream media, right? If you look at the district council election result as like a split of Hong Kong people's will, right? Let's say it's accurate, right? So about 40% of the people support our view, at least, right? But in the mainstream media, you see 80 or 90% of all the traffic goes to the mainstream media that are prone to the opposition. So our supporters are not finding a voice, not finding anyone that represents them in the mainstream media. And that's why they turn to our YouTube channel to look for like an alternative voice, right? So we got to continue with that. And that is my original goal, and that's still my goal today.
I think this is very important. In order that we will not get this we are all alone by ourselves feeling, which is actually not correct.
Let's watch now a news clip.
36個人見咗律師之後落口供啦，咁剩低嗰啲有幾多個係冇見到律師，原來係落咗口供嘅？
咁就係減一減個數咯，咁啊54減36，咁啊即係18個就喺冇律師嘅情況底下攞。
新嘅催淚彈嘅熱度係溶到入個馬路度，係拎唔翻出嚟個彈頭。咁其實佢係國產嗰隻定係美製嗰隻啦。
呢位記者，呢位男記者唔好成日去中斷我哋答案。
我哋唔係中斷，佢未答啊嘛。你可以俾我問下本地問問題咧？呢個場而家暫時都係我嘅。
公佈唔好意思，你咪乜副處長喺度分享分派。唔好以為保安執冇你我做嘅。保持，你係咪想奪權？你夠票咩？
尊重翻我哋個場合，唔該。
你哋係咁關心，咪點解唔公平嘅交代？係咪丁點責任都冇？係咪丁點責任都冇？頭先你冇答過，3條都冇答過。
其實呢度答咗你哋嘅問題。
點答啊？乜都冇答過。乜都冇答，係咪貓老鼠？係咪丁點責任都冇？
As Dominic has said, there are still a lot of people in Hong Kong that believe that the police last year on August 31st killed a lot of people. The police and the authorities held a lot of press conferences explaining the truth behind that. Do you also think that, these people are still thinking like that? Certain medias in Hong Kong are reporting, the news in a certain way?
Well, a lot of mainstream media are spreading, I wouldn't say call them fake news, but pseudo fake news, right? Okay. They know the fact that I'm pretty, I talk to a lot of members from the press. I think most of them will know that, nobody died last year in August 31st. But they keep on saying that, or they keep on not saying the alternative, right? I think that is how they manipulate the people into believing what they say, right? And so I personally think that we need to have our own media, right? And that is how social media comes into place. And that's why, it's important nowadays to have not only media that is friendly to our views, but also influencers online that is going to provide an alternative view.
Yeah. So, Mr. Tang, do you believe that after the protests of last year, breaking rumor is a primary task for the police right now?
It has always been a major task for the police to break rumors. All along, we've been respecting the media because we appreciate they are all well-trained, professional media people. But I think
sure about that.
No. I think there's a balance.
Right.
There's a balance. Like Dominic have just said, they should not have only focused on one side of the story. They should also give a balancing view to the audience, to people, to their readers, so that we people in Hong Kong got a balanced view rather than just simply focusing on one side of the story, and in particular in a on many occasions unfair way. And hence it is to answer your question, I think the police has been doing it pretty well to try to turn the rumor around. But unfortunately, looking at the clips earlier on, you see it's not a press interview session. It is a press interrogation session. It's counterproductive. What they should be doing is to try to ask sensible questions so that to give and allow the police an opportunity to explain the situation. I think we have to trust the police, bearing in mind that whatever the police said, whatever the police done, they are always held responsible and accountable.
But also, I think now the Hong Kong Police Force has a Facebook page or Facebook group where they do the live streaming and everything. They are learning as well. So please remember to subscribe to our channel and watch our videos. We are DotDotNews. Bye bye.